So quick question, before you took your last trade, did you have a written plan for exactly what you were looking for? What about how much you were risking? What about your parameters for actually taking the trade and finding an entry versus sitting out? If your answer is anything but yes, this video is for you. Because here's the thing that most people get confused. When you're first getting into trading, strategy is not the first thing you should be learning. Not even understanding the markets. Building your trading plan is the very first step. And a lot of people jump right into buying evals and spamming a bunch of different strategies altogether before understanding the importance of actually having a plan. So instead of building it after, once you've already lost a ton of money, let's get that out of the way now. What's going on, guys? It's your girl, Megan Savage, and welcome to another episode of my Quick Start Trading mini-series Volume 2. If you haven't already seen Volume 1 that I made last year, I'm going to link it in the description below. And if you're just seeing this episode, we got a couple older ones that you can go take a look at as well. What I'm trying to help you guys do is understand the foundations of trading, because too many people want to learn how to trade and they get so overwhelmed with all the different information online and what to actually look for, and it just gets overwhelming and confusing. So I'm going to help hold your hand through this process. And Mr. Valentino here, also known as Muffin, will be here as well. So today I'm going to be going over a trading plan and how to build it. I'm not going to be going over any specific strategy today. It's not because I'm gatekeeping, but because a trading plan should be very personal to you. And what I mean by that is it should be built around how you personally trade, how your lifestyle is. So what might work for me might not be what works best for you. And a trading plan, I realize, is something that evolves over time. Like I said, when you're just getting into the markets, you're going to have a very set plan that looks a lot like other people's. And after you get very comfortable with your strategy, very comfortable with finding your confluences and your entry, through backtesting, you need to be making sure you're journaling properly. You'll be able to take that data and make a more personalized trading plan just for you. I know it might seem boring, but I want to tell you a quick story. I run a trading community and I split my students up based on what exactly their goals are. For example, I have one group for people that are brand spanking new. They just want to learn the basics of foundation and they want to be able to trade and place trades on their own. Then I have another group of people who their goal is they want to be very, very professional. They want to pass funded evals. They want to make hundreds of thousands of dollars trading. I call them my elite group. And in my elite group, I have a program that I guarantee that you'll pass a funded account within 6 months. And one of my students, she was able to do that. She passed. She has over $300,000 in funding and obviously continuing to grow. But after passing her accounts, she ended up getting into a little bit of a rocky patch. Let me give you some secret sauce here, because going from a demo account to trading to a live account is a lot different, because you're dealing with real capital. So you could be doing very, very well back testing with fake money, but the moment you put in real dollars, your psychology may change. You also need to learn how it changes from a live to a funded. And after passing that funded and getting the payout, it's all different things. For example, I was talking with another one of my students literally last night about how you could be a very profitable trader, but then the moment that you are like, you know what, I've been trading, going to a job for the last 3 years, been profitable, but now I'm going to go full time, you're going to have to deal with the psychology of, okay, well now this is my full-time income. And there's a lot more pressure. This is why as a trader, you are constantly learning, evolving, and it is a huge self-development game as you continue to grow. I won't get too much into that, but back to my other student. She passed her account. She was doing very good, but then she went through sort of a dry spurt, as we all do trading. She started to second guess literally everything, and she was doing things that she knows that she shouldn't be doing. So after we got on a call and we took a look at her trades, we come to realize that the only thing she wasn't implementing was her trading plan that she had in the beginning. Once we went back to basics and we said, hey, you need to trade the exact same way you were trading on your backtesting account. We went over her rules and we even set something in place to make sure that she now follows them. Literally the next week she was doing okay again. So as simple as it seems, your trading plan can be the make or break on if you actually get that payout or not. Without a trading plan, you're just improvising and it becomes extremely expensive. The line between gambling and trading starts to be very blurred. Next thing you know, you're placing 10 trades in one day when your trading plan says you're only supposed to take 2, but you're not following that and you end up blowing your account. That's just one of many examples you can do if you do not follow your plan. Something that I do when I'm extremely overwhelmed with any type of problem in my life is I like to write it down, because they say if you can write down your problem, it's already halfway solved. And that's simply because sometimes holding all that energy in your brain can cause you to overthink a lot of things. It's the exact same way with trading. Literally as simple as having your rules in front of you, having your plan in front of you while you're trading can help you save a lot of money. And remember, your job as a trader is to protect your capital, not necessarily win all the time. So you might not be a bad trader. You might just be a trader without a plan. The very first part of your plan that you need to know is, what exactly are you trading? If you are brand new, you should be not looking at more than one asset at a time. You want to learn that asset, learn how it moves. One of my students came into my community and I was asking what they were trading, and there was like a list of 10 different assets on there. That's just straight chaos. Max pick 2, but honestly, you should be looking for reasons not to trade. Once you get that mindset down, you'll make a lot more money. The logic is very simple. The more time you spend looking at one asset, the better you are at reading it. The better you are at reading it means the more money you can make. Then after reaching profitability with that asset, you can move on to another and so on and so forth. So all you're going to do, pick your market, pick your asset, write it down, and that's step one. You have all the time in the world to be trading any session that you want. That doesn't mean that you should be trading every session. I'm a New York AM trader. I like to trade in the morning and then be done with my day. Sometimes, if everything makes sense, I will trade the afternoon. But also doing this stops trading becoming something that I hate. The more time you are in the markets in that way, the more mistakes you can make. And if trading starts to become something you become a slave to, going on the markets will start to trigger you, and that's not what we want. Now, I'm obviously very biased, but if you're somebody who can move your work schedule around or can make your schedule free, I would always suggest trading New York AM. It has the most volatility in that market. It has the most volatility in that session. London also has a good volatility, but not everybody can stay awake to all hours of the night. Now, I work with a lot of people that have jobs in the day, so they're not able to trade New York, and obviously they're not going to stay up till London session and to trade that as well when they're trying to sleep. So they'll trade Asia session. Now, I let people know you may not see the same success right away as other people trading more volatile sessions. That is okay. You need to trade with what works with your lifestyle right now. And there's nothing wrong with trading Asia, taking it slow, and working your way up to where you can trade other sessions afterwards. But you do not want to become a slave to the markets. The whole reason you're doing this, and I don't know you, but I'm just guessing, is that you want to be able to take control of your life and have time freedom again. If you're looking at the charts from the moment you open your eyes to the moment you go to sleep, that sort of defeats the purpose. You need to know when to walk away. This is why I have my set times that I trade. I block those off. I'm not taking calls. I'm not doing anything else besides trading. But then after they're done, I go about my day. So I want you to write down what session that you're going to trade and agree to yourself that outside of those hours, you are not taking any trades, period. Now, this is the most important part, and most beginners tend to forget it. We need to talk about your risk rules. These are decided before you enter a trade, and they will not change once you enter a trade and change your mind about how much you want to risk. What is the maximum percentage of your account you want to risk per trade? I recommend 1 to 2% for beginners max. So on a $1,000 account, that's $10 to $20 per trade, which isn't that bad. On a $5,000 account, that's $50 to $100. Write that percentage down. Do not forget it. Number 2 is your daily loss limit. So this is the maximum amount that you're willing to lose in an entire day of trading. Once you hit this number, no matter what, you step away from the charts. Your session is over. It doesn't matter if you have an hour or two left. Having this number in mind stops you from doing stupid things that will blow your account, like over trading or revenge trading. Emotions are a real thing. And I know you get the feeling like you can win it all back. Don't do it, please. And number 3, I would say, is your maximum open risk. Now, this is for the person who has multiple trades open at the same time. As a beginner, I don't really think you should be doing this at all, but maybe for more intermediate, you definitely can. For example, if you risk 2% per trade and you have 5 trades open, you're risking 10% of your entire account. Now, this might be too much risk, especially if all of them lose. I'm going to have a maximum of 2 open trades at the same time, especially if you followed what I said in the beginning, which is only have one asset you're trading. This will be easy to follow, so you're not bouncing from one to the other, to the other, to the other. And lastly, you can have maximum trades per session. Something that a lot of my students follow is the 2 rule. They will place maximum 3 trades per day. Now, keep in mind, most of them are intraday traders. We do have some scalpers on the team, but that's a whole different story. After they lose twice, they are off the charts. So if they won their first trade and their second trade and they see a potential for a third trade, they will take it. But if they lost once and then they lost again, they're out. And again, I know these rules seem super simple, but they actually save you a lot of money. Your entry criteria. This is where in the plan it does become strategy specific. This is very dependent on what type of strategy that you trade. Now, if you're on my team or you've been on my page, you know I trade and I teach a lot of S&C concepts. And this is sort of a quick checklist on what I get my students to do. Very, very simplified. Obviously, there's more that goes into it, but just to simplify it for you guys. Number 1, I teach my students on how to be able to read high time frame narrative and bias. They need to know in which direction is the market more likely to go. How they do this is they learn the confluences that are strategy specific. Because, as you know, price likes to move to magnets in the market. There are things that are drawing price to either go up or down, have the buyers win, have the sellers win. So after they have back tested and they were able to prove that they have a good idea on how to read price and if it's going up or down. Next, we're going to go into lower time frames. It does depend on if you're a scalper, intraday, swing trader. But for me, I will trade my session and then be done with the day. After doing my weekly and daily time frame analysis, I'll go into the 4-hour and 1-hour, get a little bit more confluence there. See if price is telling me more of a story, and that's confirming my bias. Now, I do trade PO3. If you guys know what that is, that's totally fine. But that is another confluence that will tell me on if the market's market's going to go up or down for the day. That's on a 30-minute time frame. After that is all done, that is the information I will use to either tell me if yes, this is a day that I'm going to go full risk, everything is aligning, and the story makes sense. Or if I'm going to de-risk because maybe my weekly and daily are telling me bullish, but the 4 hour, the 1 hour, the 30-minute are telling me bearish. In situations like that, if it does make sense, if I see a magnet where it's telling me that it's going to go there first before continuing higher or lower, I will then still look for trades if it makes sense, but I will de-risk. Or finally, if all of it doesn't make sense, the market's in consolidation, it's just absolutely crazy and buck wild, I will just decide then not to go in the markets that day. Now, let's say this is a trading day. I will go to the lower time frames now. 15, 5-minute is usually where I like to stay. I do sometimes go into the 3, 2, 1, but I'm going to be real with you. It's mostly 5 minutes to 15-minute I trade. Now, this is where I look for my entry criteria, okay? So keep in mind, I told you guys all of that because these are things that my students learn before they even look for an entry. So if you are just getting into trading and you're jumping into entering, like where to put my TP, where to put my stop loss, and when to enter, you are skipping the entire foundation of how price actually moves, which is probably why you're not profitable yet. So the next thing is I want my students to learn what an A+ setup is. So an A+ setup is all the criteria I just told you before and being able to find an entry off of 5 confluences that align. Now, once they can show me they can do that, now we're going to get it more personalized. Because I'm going to be real with you. There was one student I was teaching and we were going through all of their data with backtesting. And I have an algorithm that I run their stuff through to even see any holes that I don't see. And after doing that, we found out that when they were trading DJ in the AM New York session, their specific way that they trade, they only really need to have 3 confluences and their bias needs to align for them to have a 78% win rate. And that's personally to them, okay? Through all that personal data, they learned that they like to catch 1 to 2s and usually anything higher lowers their win rate. So if I've lost you, I'm sorry, but I promise you this will make sense later on. But that's another example about how even though me and my student, we trade the exact same strategy, they trade it a little bit more differently than me. So how to find your actual entry criteria, if you're brand new and I'm giving you this advice, is I would just say, obviously I can help you more if it's SMC, but based on the strategy that you're trading, if you can find 5 confluences that align with your bias, that's an A+ setup. Work on finding that. Yes, you will find less of it on the charts. Yes, you will trade less. That is the point at first. Once you're able to spot that and spot it quickly, now it's okay, well, let's back test these assets. Let's back test maybe doing 4 confluences instead of 3. Let's back test doing 1-to-1s, 1-to-4s. Let's figure out your time frame. Let's figure out what works for you. After all that is done, you will have your perfect entry criteria. But that is again for later dates. So right now, just stick to the A+ setup and we'll build off of that from there. Sound good? And the last component, just like how we talked about entry criteria, we have to talk about exit criteria. Now, a lot of people forget this step because they think, well, I know the strategy, I know how to read price, I know when to enter, like I'm good to go. But that profit is not profit until you pull out, okay? So you need to figure out how you're going to act and what you're going to do when your trade goes in your favor and against your favor. Are you the type of person who likes to move your stop to BE after it hits a 1-to-1? Are you somebody who likes to scale into your trades? Are you somebody who's a set it and forget it kind of guy? This is why I tell my students to not get overwhelmed and deal with the anxiety that social media tends to present onto traders. There's no right or wrong way to trade. I don't really like to move my stop loss at all. There's a couple of my students that like to move it at 1-to-1, or there's a specific student that moves it halfway after it reaches a 1.5. But again, you need to find what works for you because you could be a person that has a super high win rate but a low R&R, or super high in R&R but a low win rate. How you do this is through journaling. And if you haven't watched my other videos yet, I've talked about this before, but TradeZella is actually one of the best things you guys can use. I have a personal algo that I actually run with my students because I do a lot of personal breakdown for them. Having that journaling aspect in front of them is very, very important. If you've never seen TradeZella before in your life, check the description below. I'm going to attach a link as well as a discount code. But if you're somebody who doesn't want to pay for it, that's also totally fine. Just make sure that whether you're using OneNote or you're writing down on pen and paper and you're old fashioned like that you record why you entered, why you exit, what you were doing, what your logic was. Like, you need to be as detailed as possible. Please, I'm telling you, having all that information is what will give you all your personalized exit and entry criteria. This is where the money's at, baby, okay? And please don't forget, knowing all this information is great, but you also need to know when you're not going to enter the markets at all. I mentioned earlier that if I can't figure out a good bias or narrative, I won't enter the market that day. I don't want to force a trade. That's personally one of my rules. Maybe you're somebody who does not like to trade news at all. There's certain news days that I will not even look at the markets. And I hear other people, they're like, oh my gosh, yeah, I won a big trade today. That's great for them. But that's not part of my rules. So that was still a win for me. Being able to sit on your hands is a skill. And honestly, one of the hardest skills in trading you'll learn. Don't feel like you're missing out on the markets because there will always be more moves for you to take. A trading plan does not need to be 30 pages. It does not have to be perfect on the first go. Just like you, it is constantly evolving. And when you find one that works for you, you're going to feel like you struck gold. This is not some document that you write down and hide in a drawer. This is a living document. And the most profitable and consistent traders I know all treat their plan with high regard. Now, I talked about the importance of having this data and being able to journal it down. If you know me at all, it's one of the biggest things I talk about. So in the next episode, I'm going to talk about the importance of journaling and how to actually use it to improve faster than you ever thought. If you found any value from this video, please don't forget to like and subscribe. I'm here to go through this journey with you guys. Remember, you're savage, not average, and I'll see you guys on the next video.